Hi there, this is Sol Sharonan from Sol Sharonan Films, and welcome to another episode of Director Collections. Today I'm going to go through a director who, very much like David Lynch and Stanley Kubrick, doesn't actually have that many films despite a long career. He does tend to take his time before making a film. He tries to get things as accurate as possible when he can. He's had a very influential career, one of the most influential American filmmakers that not as many people talk about his influence, but certainly a very famous director called Christopher Nolan has probably ripped off quite a lot of this director's look and visual style and architecture of shots, using architecture. He created a groundbreaking television show, another well-loved television show that's kind of overlooked. He created the definitive Hannibal Lecter, and he's rather awesome. Of course, it's Michael Mann, Crime Story and Miami Vice on television, and of course is like hugely influential, even though I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for the look of modern American film. And as I said, Christopher Nolan has been certainly inspired by quite a lot of the visual style of Michael Mann, as have quite a lot of American kind of more mainstream filmmakers. So I'm just going to go through the editions that I have. I don't have Ali with Will Smith. I've still never seen it. I do have Will Smith-itis, but I really should watch it at some point because it is Michael Mann, and there's films with actors that I'm not a huge fan of that are still wonderful, because Michael Mann makes them wonderful. So we'll start with really one of his finest films that, again, nobody mentions. I mean, all these films really need 4Ks, but we'll come to that. This is The Insider with Al Pacino and Russell Crowe. Al Pacino a little bit as toned down as Al Pacino can be, and only Michael Mann could make a 2.5-hour film about a whistleblower in the tobacco industry, played by Russell Crowe, and make it absolutely riveting and wonderful. Al Pacino plays a journalist on 60 Minutes, and Christopher Plummer gives a wonderful Christopher Plummer performance. And again, the synopsis would be like, what? 2.5 hours about tobacco? But yeah, it's absolutely riveting, looks beautiful, sounds beautiful, just great performances all round. It did have 7 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture in 1999, and I don't think it won any. I'm not sure what the best film in the Oscars was in 1999. I'm not quite sure. This is a multi-region disc. I mean, this should be, all of Michael Mann's films should be in Criterion or lovely boutique versions. Next is a film from 1992 that I saw in the cinema twice. I've seen a couple of Michael Mann films in the cinema twice. I mean, Michael Mann films are meant for the cinema. You need to watch them on as big a screen as possible, and this is no exception. This is The Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis. This is a beautiful French steelbook with 3 discs. It's got the director's cut, the theatrical cut, and the theatrical cut on DVD. It's just absolutely beautiful film, great soundtrack, which I had on cassette when it first came out. Daniel Day-Lewis gives a wonderful performance. Madeline Stowe, Maurice Reeves. Yeah, it's just absolutely wonderful. Granted, there's always that British and English is the same thing that American films tend to do. But absolutely glorious film. Absolutely beautiful, wonderful ending. Wes Studi is one of the great villains of all time. Next, a film that was kind of panned when it came out, but it just gets better every time you watch it. It's one of those films that I would, if I stooped to give things half stars, it would be a 4.5. Starring two actors that I'm not huge fans of, but again, Michael Mann works his magic on them. It's Miami Vice, with Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell, and this lovely 88 Films edition, which has the director's cut and the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut's 132 minutes and the director's cut's 139. Again, people were expecting, you know, some kind of camp 80s sort of thing, like the TV show, but then they forget that the TV show wasn't camp in the slightest. It was actually pretty dark, and as brutal as American television could get in those days. But for some reason they just think of the suits and the Miami Sun and all the guest stars that appeared on it and somehow thought it was like camp, and they wanted this to be kind of bright and shiny, and it's not. It's dark and moody, and it was panned when it came out, but it's absolutely fabulous. And yes, you need to watch it on as big a screen as possible. And then next is a television movie from 1979. This is The Jericho Mile, with Peter Strauss. Brian Dennehy's in it as well, and Jeffrey Lewis. About a man in prison who just wants to run from everything. There's a commentary by Lee Gambin. There's an original trailer, but with no audio for some reason. Yeah, again, Michael Mann's really interested in men. You know, women are just there in Michael Mann films to kind of support the men, but he's not really interested in women. He's interested in men and why men are men. Excuse me. Why, you know, two sides of the same coin. You know, they're pretty much duality runs through just about every Michael Mann film. Another film that wasn't really highly regarded, but the more you watch it the better it gets, is Public Enemies. You could argue one of Johnny Depp's last decent performances, but again, that's the Michael Mann effect. Christian Bale and Marion Cotillard, shot on digital, which I think maybe when it first came out was a little bit distracting, but I think we're all kind of used to it now. And that juxtaposition of digital with the Dillinger days is interesting. Again, looks beautiful, sounds wonderful, music by Elliot Goldenthal, who's done quite a lot of Michael Mann films, or part of the scores in Michael Mann films. Again, regular Stephen Lang. This also has Billy Crudup and Stephen Dorff. Yeah, not one of Mann's best, but even saying that, it's still very good. And then one of Michael Mann's best is Manhunter. You know, it's kind of interesting. Obviously there's different versions of Michael Mann films. Obviously Miami Vice has got 2 cuts, Black Hat's got 2 cuts, obviously Manhunter's got about 3 cuts. So this is the director's cut with a commentary. The theatrical version, I wouldn't even bother with the theatrical version. There's too much cut out and rejiggered, which nobody should rejigger anything. But But this is the definitive Hannibal Lecter. Anybody who thinks Anthony Hopkins is the best Hannibal Lecter needs to be sent to an island somewhere with Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, William Peterson is wonderful. Obviously avoid the Brett Ratner Red Dragon, which is awful. Next, his latest one, Ferrari, which is good, but there is a couple of problems with it. Shailene Woodley is badly miscast in my opinion, and there is a scene that uses really bad, jarring CGI that I can't believe got past quality control. It's really bad and it takes you completely out of the experience. You know, Adam Driver is fine as Enzo Ferrari, and the kind of passion. I mean, some of the comments, it's like Grand Prix fused with The Godfather. I mean, that's from Variety. I mean, whoever said that should really be fired. The Wall Street Journal calls it the best car movie ever made. The Los Angeles Times says Mann's operatic saga of fast cars, furious women, and a powerful human citadel. Yeah. The New York Times just says flat out thrilling. Yeah, it's in the lower echelon of Mann films. Obviously it looks good, sounds good. Penelope Cruz is really good in it. Yeah, good film, but not up to the standard. Not up to the standard, the golden standard of Michael Mann. Then next, again, another film that, I mean, I didn't like the first time I saw it, and it got hammered. Black Hat, but this is the Arrow 4K, which has the director's cut, and the director's cut is the way to go. It kind of hangs together a lot more. But again, I don't understand how a director of Mann's stature, you know, had to make cuts, and it's just a bit bizarre. So you get the US and international versions on 4K. The director's cut is on Blu-ray. Again, this is about hacking. You can feel that it maybe came out 5 years too late, came out in 2015, but again, Michael Mann does take his time. Chris Hemsworth, who I'm not a fan of, again, is fine in it. That's the Michael Mann effect. Yeah, so you get 3 cuts, and again, they don't vary hugely in length. It's like 134 minutes, 133 minutes, 132 minutes, but it's just the way the scenes are put together. The director's cut just works a lot better, and for me it goes from a 3-star film to a 4-star film. Yeah, again, dark and moody, and it's just quite wonderful, and again, see it on the screen as big as possible. And then his debut feature, which is getting a 4K from Criterion and Arrow, is Thief with James Caan, one of the best James Caan performances. Tuesday Weld is in this. James Belushi's one of his best performances. Robert Prosky's absolutely fantastic as a nasty man. Willie Nelson, and it was the debut for Dennis Farina, who of course would work with Mann on Manhunter and go on and have a wonderful life, I was about to say. Yeah, a wonderful career. And he's also in Crime Story as well. Again, this has 2 cuts of the film, the theatrical and directors, and again, there's only 2 minutes difference. And again, there's a lot of Michael Mann in this, about a solitary man, a professional, and all the ties of friendship and relationships that end up bringing him down. It's just a wonderful, wonderful film. I probably will pick up the 4K at some point because you kind of need Michael Mann films in 4K. It's the Powell and Pressburger thing. All these films should be in 4K really. And then we've got the Scream Factory Blu-ray of Manhunter. Again, this has the director's cut and the theatrical cut, but as I always say, the version to try and get a hold of is the European video version, which I have recorded off the television back in the day. I think that's the one that was shown on Moviedrome. It's not sleazy enough to be on Videodrome. It was on Moviedrome with Alex Cox. Yeah, it's a straight up masterpiece. One of the films of the 80s. I mean, it's not perfect, it has its little flaws, but it's just immense. And Entertainment Weekly actually agrees with me, superior to Silence of the Lambs. I did lecture for 3 years on tour going around the world, telling everybody that Manhunter is better than Silence of the Lambs by a country mile, which as we know is a mile and a half. It's just an amazing film. Not quite as amazing Collateral with Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise, again two actors that I'm not huge fans of, but they do well in this. I mean, the star of this to me is Mark Ruffalo. It's one of the most upsetting deaths in cinema history for me. Yeah, Tom Cruise is a hitman, night on town, and coerces Jamie Foxx to drive him around from hit to hit. I mean, Tom Cruise isn't bad. I do think he's slightly miscast. Certainly the finale's not wonderful, but for a huge chunk of it, it's wonderful, engrossing stuff, and again, looks great, sounds great. And Mark Ruffalo is just wonderful in it. This has got a commentary by Mann, and again, Michael Mann is in that upper echelon of filmmaker whose commentaries are just astounding. Yeah, so whenever you can get a Michael Mann commentary, he just gives you so much information, and it's not all about how amazing he is like quite a lot of directors' commentaries are. He's just a joy to listen to. Next, probably his most famous film, Heat. Again, I saw this in the cinema twice, and again, you really need to see this on a screen as big as possible. I have read Heat 2, his book, which he is filming or is going to start to film, but obviously he's getting on a bit, with Adam Driver as a young Neil Macaulay, or Robert De Niro's character. Yeah, the book follows Macaulay and Val Kilmer's character, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. Val Kilmer's character after Heat and Robert De Niro's character before Heat, obviously. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, one of the best shootouts in cinema history that apparently is shown by some military or security force as a how to do it properly or something. And then finally, his most notorious film that he can't stand, The Keep. This is the Vinegar Syndrome 4K silly box, but I kind of had to. Now obviously Imprint has announced an even more ridiculous box with one of the crosses from inside the Keep, but that's about 150 quid or something, or 100 quid, so I probably won't be getting that. And they've also announced a very silly special edition of Dune as well, with a lenticular with some sand effect. So I'll be interested to see how many of them actually sell, or are they reaching the pinnacle of let's stop being really stupid with special editions? Yeah, he absolutely hates it, which is a shame that he doesn't embrace it, because it does have a lot going for it. It is batshit crazy, but in a fun way. It's got a hell of a cast, you know, Scott Glenn, Gabriel Byrne, Jurgen Prochnow, Ian McKellen, bizarrely a younger Ian McKellen playing an older Ian McKellen, Robert Prosky. It's complete nonsense, but there is a charm to it. It's the 4K and Blu-ray. Even though the imprint version does have a brand new feature-length documentary with people, obviously not Michael Mann. So who knows, if I win the lottery maybe I'll order it, but otherwise I probably won't be ordering it. Definitely not. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a shame he doesn't like to talk about it or even pretend that it exists. But it's part of his life, it's part of his legacy. I did have LA Takedown on recorded off the television, which is the TV version of Heat, which is a fascinating little watch. After Heat came out, obviously the leads are nowhere near as charismatic as De Niro and Pacino. There is a couple of actors who play different roles in Heat, but that's more for the purists, the completists. As a film, it's like not that good, but as a kind of exercise, a practice run, it's actually quite fascinating to watch. Obviously it's not as long as Heat, it's only about an hour and a half or whatever. Yeah, but it's fascinating, and I would recommend going back to Miami Vice, because it is quite wonderful as well. Obviously he wasn't involved with the whole thing, but it's better than a lot of TV that's on now. And also Crime Stories, like heavily underrated. Crime Stories, an absolute blast, literally. So thanks very much for watching this director's collection of the wonderful Michael Mann. People would say, oh yeah, he's mainstream, but he has created quite a few masterworks, and I don't think his influence can be understated. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, the fact that he's pretty much influenced the way modern American films look, that's a matter for debate. Anyway, please let me know what editions of Michael Mann films you have, what's your favourite, and hopefully you'll join me again for more episodes of my director collections. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.